this season's captain, Ilkay Gundogan. What a season it's turned out to be, and it won't be finished after this, of course, with the Champions League final to come next Saturday. Haaland wins the first header, De Bruyne chases. Oh! Unbelievable from Gundogan! History beckons. The long ball from the goalkeeper, flicked on. Haaland, De Bruyne was in there, and Gundogan with the most sumptuous of volleys. United behind, City jubilant.
Well, you said it, long ball played forward. Haaland wins the first in the air here. De Bruyne tries to make the run. Lindelof just heads it into a dangerous area, and it falls very nicely. You have to ask why David De Gea doesn't dive for it. But what a strike from Gundogan. Talked about him getting the better of the midfield opponents. He's just done that. Lashes that ball outside of the foot slightly. What a finish and what a start to the game.
Well, in recent seasons, Ilkay Gundogan has produced more and more goals. He's always made goals, but he's got a bit of a Wembley track record. Scored in the Champions League final here, but ended up on the losing side. He's played international football here, but I don't think there's anything that's topped that moment. But of course, it's very early on, and the only consolation for the team in red is there's plenty of time to recover.
Straight away there you can see the shape of Manchester City. Stones in midfield alongside Rodri, then goes to a back three.
Into Haaland. Sorted out by Rafa Varane. Paul Tierney's the referee. There'll be a chance to mention him before Manchester City were in front. Haaland. A jet-propelled start by Manchester City. De Bruyne. And scoring the quickest goal in FA Cup final history doesn't necessarily win you the game.
Certainly doesn't, but there you saw, it's Gundogan's goal, but there you saw Fred up against Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne went past him and was fouled by the next player making the challenge. That's the matchup that Manchester United want, Fred against Kevin De Bruyne. It's a terrible start for Erik ten Hag and those supporters.
Manchester United on a 4-game winning streak. They've been playing for purpose right to the end of the Premier League season to qualify top 4 position. They actually finished 3rd in the end. De Bruyne takes. Oh, De Gea didn't move again. As Rodri powered in.
They're holding a high line, Manchester United, and it's just whipped into that near post area. He gets a good header on it as well, Rodri. Just can't get it goalwards, actually gets too much on it.
Flag has gone up for offside. Well, we haven't really talked too much about Ortega playing in goal for Ederson. Ederson known for his kicking as well as his ability to save shots. It was that goalkeeping excellence from the cup goalkeeper, when was calling, that set it all up. But Gundogan, goodness me, there's talk about whether he's going to be a Manchester City player next season, but Bernardo Silva as well. It's not on the agenda at the moment. De Bruyne, Fred sort of keeping him company. De Bruyne's cross. Akanji's been a very good acquisition this season for Pep Guardiola. So he did score in that 4-0 demolition of Real Madrid. This outfield system mimicking that. It's dragged wide. Jack Grealish, he probably didn't get as many goals as he should do, really. Coming in from the left-hand side onto his stronger right foot. But he gets plenty. İlkay Gündoğan.
Great technique.
Fantastic.
Yeah, great technique, wasn't it? Just comes slightly off the outside of his right boot. But he watched it onto his foot, struck it cleanly. And again, I would ask why David De Gea didn't dive, but you won't get a better strike than that so early on in the game as well.
Even Pep Guardiola in his dreams could not have imagined to start like this. And Rodri said it could have been 2. And David Beckham, obviously in the red corner. But reflecting what the red corner are thinking. Yeah, shake of the head, and a great man. But he had a team here. I know it was a Community Shield. They were 2-0 down at half-time and won 3-2. De Gea was the goalkeeper that day. His debut. So he has to get Rashford on the run. It'll go through to Ortega. He's played a couple of league games recently as well. But he won't play next Saturday, barring any mishap, of course, to Edison.
So Manchester United are trying to press high up the field with 4 players here. But Man City aren't frightened to go long at times, as we saw with the goal.
He's up towards the Norwegian again. Warner trying to get the ball off the front, really, rather than normally into his feet in midfield in a deeper role. Haaland. Here's Fred, just marking to create. Sancho. Bruno Fernandes. Casemiro from a long way out. What Manchester United do have is players who you would call big game players, big name players. Might just have something extra from what we see week in, week out on days like this. But they need it, and they need it from him. He's one of those.
Well, I think they were asking for a handball, but it was a push by Bruno Fernandes.
Peter Banks, the 4th official, talking to Erik ten Hag.
Here you can see Eriksen pushing up to make a front 4 when they're trying to close the ball down. Just leaving Fred and Casemiro to mark Gündoğan and Kevin De Bruyne. So they have got a plan.
They must have known there was a great chance that Pep Guardiola would pick this lineup, and it's probably one of the easier teams to prepare for as a commentator. Especially whether Ruben Diaz was fit and he came out firing verbally towards the end of the week, saying, "Oh, I'm ready to go." There's Walker. Bernardo Silva. To its target. Can only stick out the foot though, and City have the ball again. Kevin De Bruyne was only a substitute the most recent time that City won the FA Cup 4 years ago. He came on and scored in a 6-0 rout of Watford. They were in the record books for that. That equalled the best margin of victory ever in this great competition, and now they've set a new landmark in terms of the speed of scoring from the start. The goal came before anything had really settled down. It's more of that creeping into the play at the moment. Half pressing this time. Two number 17 still pretty close together. Seen one little burst forward with the ball of Freddie's. Not the kind of disciplined character who might ignore the ball just to do the marking job. He will try and be part of Manchester United's attacking play as well. It's a fine balance for him to try and achieve, especially now they're 1-0 down.
Yeah, Kanji just overrunning the ball there. Casemiro coming across and nicking it off of him. Casemiro missed the ball as well. Casemiro didn't actually get the ball, did he? As he came out. But the foul has gone his way. Yeah, that's a nasty challenge by Casemiro. He's screaming as if he's been hurt, but that was a poor challenge by Casemiro. And the free kick's been given in his advantage. He's a lucky boy there.
Kanji not so lucky. Yeah, I've had a look at it, Stuart, and decided no intervention is required.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was a sending off, and that's the only way he could intervene.
3 o'clock kickoff here, local time. It's not happened over a decade. It was put in place today because so many fans coming from the Manchester area. There was a chance to get back. And the trains were still running, but there are no trains running. There's been a rail strike, so those who have jammed and crammed Wembley today have probably had quite a difficult journey so far. The journey of the match. It's okay if you're in blue. Kanji none the worse for that and screaming it out successfully.
Here's the moment again. David De Gea set himself, but then didn't get the dive in.
His future is still a matter of some debate as to whether he will stay. They're talking about under reduced terms. Walker. They seem to go through the drama of whether Bernardo Silva's leaving at the end of every season, so watch this space in that one. By Wan-Bissaka, who's got the right back slot, ahead of Diogo Dalot, who's just signed a new 5-year deal. Ericsson.
They are trying to get Wan-Bissaka forward as well. Every time Man United get possession, he breaks forward and runs away from Grealish. That's a problem if they actually give the ball away. And Grealish is spared down that left-hand side.
It's got to Rashford somehow. He was outnumbered. Rashford again. City trying to find a way to play out from the back. United making it as difficult. That's a little more victory. I think it should be their throw as well. I mentioned about Jack Grealish, whether he could be caught ahead of the ball. Jack's very proud of the way he does defend, and he's and in fact, if you say well defended, he gets upset because he says it's part of my job. That's what I do, you know. Shouldn't be surprised. So we'll see. It's an interesting point, Stuart. There's Walker.
We are seeing one or two Swaps in the front area for Manchester United. Rashford has come to the left-hand side at the moment, and Sancho is playing through the middle. Eriksen again, the midfield player that's trying to push that little bit higher. Bruno Fernandes playing on the right, but tucking in.
Haaland. Most of his touches, if not all, coming off the front. Make the ball in a deeper position, even his part in the goal. Kanji. Stones in midfield. Now Walker. Haaland again, just doing exactly what we described. Now he can make a chance here, and he's got contact. The flank had stayed down, whether it would have gone up had the ball gone in the net. But
I don't think it would have done. I think he timed his run, and it was a great ball by Gundogan. The movement from Man City was magnificent to start with. Gundogan made a run in behind. Two centre-half dropped that bit deeper to combat that. Haaland came off, set up the midfield player.
And Saka goes again, and he has got the other side of Grealish. That is Kyle Walker to a T. In his 30s now, he hasn't lost an inch of pace, let alone a yard.
It would have been slightly more interesting had it been Rashford rather than Sancho.
Yeah. And a wonderful battle with Vinicius Junior. Great respect between the two players.
Well, his greatest asset is his pace, but he's become a good reader of the game as well over the last 4 or 5 years. Criticised earlier on in the season for not being quite so good on the ball, so he couldn't play that midfield role that John Stones has played. That's why he wasn't in the side for a good period.
Away by De Gea. It's not totally his fault. He's expecting a runner in there. Rashford is back in the middle. Big scalps, Chelsea, Arsenal. Fourth round matches, then Bristol City of the Championship away, Burnley of the Championship, managed of course by City legend Vincent Kompany. This match 6-0 at the Etihad. A pretty straightforward 3-0 semi-final win here against Sheffield United, who went on to clinch promotion back to the Premier League. Haaland.
Probably their toughest game was against Arsenal, wasn't it, when they won that game? Nathan Ake goal. Played on a Friday night. 1 and 2 in the league at the time, as they've been for most of the season. And Arsenal certainly gave a good account of themselves.
Manchester United had 4 consecutive home draws, all winning the game by 3 goals to 1. Everton, Reading, West Ham and Fulham. And then it needed penalties here against Brighton. And the semi-final was as tight as that suggests.
Good hold-up play from Haaland again, up against Varane. Flicked round the corner by Kevin De Bruyne. He's holding the player off, and Varane then grabs him. Free kick given.
Varane talking in the week, hoping that the supply line wouldn't come into Haaland because Manchester United would cut it off at source and stop De Bruyne getting on the ball, but it's difficult to do that. De Bruyne's now in this sort of role where he can play almost off the front. Coming from the right at the moment and giving away, which is not the City style by Ruben Diaz. 1-0.
When we talk about Manchester United and their creativity, you want the likes of Bruno Fernandes to get on the ball, Eric Christensen to get on the ball, or Eriksen should I say, to get on the ball. That hasn't happened at all so far. I don't think Eriksen has touched the ball.
And the one thing Erik ten Hag can say, well, we certainly didn't lose our focus having lost the early goal, but here's another chance, and it's Haaland. It's not a chance, really. It's in his repertoire, maybe 8/10 of the chance.
Again, good centre-forward play. Turns away from the first challenge. He's trying to wrap his foot round it and hit it with power. Just slips as he's about to strike it. Just watch his standing foot. There it goes.
Paying a lot of tribute to his father Alfie this week, who of course is, I guess, his manager as well as his dad, but huge connection between the two. And Alfie played in a couple of derbies. His time as a Manchester City player. I'm sure that past history had a lot to do with Erling choosing his present employers as his first English club. I'm sure the opposition today would have taken him in a flash, and pretty much everybody else. There's that City connection.
De Gea looking for which will be the better long pass for him. He's going to go into midfield on this occasion.
Hernandez. He's just setting him for head of Wan-Bissaka. Nice combination between the two. Rodri was there to tidy up. That's another fine clearance by Ortega. To De Bruyne. Can put Haaland in here. Haaland makes the right kind of run. Just lost control of the ball at the vital moment. I'm not sure Haaland was ever quite in a position where he could have been found. And Rashford showing that acceleration that Stuart referred to. And it's given as a goal kick when the ball went out. And it would be a corner. Looks so.
Yeah, the 1v1 I was talking about, that was Rashford against Diaz, and you could tell who had the greater pace. That could be a worry for Man City. Then we see Stones playing in midfield, so he could be left isolated at times. Diaz.
Walker. Walking pace for City. Lindelof is going with Erling Haaland whenever he can. Eriksen. Bruno Fernandes. Wan-Bissaka's had a good second half of the season. Seemed when they went into transfer window, he might be leaving. Here's Luke Shaw, England's left back, of course, well used to playing at Wembley. Sancho. Eriksen. More control in this attack from Manchester United. Wan-Bissaka. A little touch on from Rashford. In the end was neither one thing or the other, but better from the team in red.
Absolutely. Switch of play out to Wan-Bissaka. Just sets up Casemiro to play the ball in. And two players plus Sancho trying to get into the box. It's another good header in the end from Rashford. As you said, I'm not quite sure what he was trying to do.
It's past the halfway mark and a stoppage involving a problem for David De Gea. Both camps taking a timeout. This will have a tactical element as well as a rehydrating element to it.
Interesting to see the first person that Pep Guardiola went to and had a little bit of a scream and a shout at was Ortega, who I think has done brilliantly with his passing. Here's the goal again from the kick-off, back to the goalkeeper. One long ball played forward. Haaland wins the first ball. De Bruyne doesn't get there, but Lindelof heads it straight to Gundogan, who with slightly the outside of his right boot couldn't hit that any better. It's a wonderful strike and a wonderful goal.
with Manchester United in a watching situation. And now getting a bit of guidance. Wan-Bissaka's seeing a little bit of the ball now.
They've got a massive problem, Manchester United. Just the way that Man City play, the movement. Some of the players to go and close the ball down for Manchester United are having to travel long distances and leaving something else open in behind them.
Well, when he came into the job in the mid-1980s, his brief was to wrestle control away from Liverpool Football Club. Winning league after league, trophy after trophy, and he made a pretty good fist of that. Manchester City for much of that time were nothing but a club on the other side of town, and on the other side of the league, not within the same table, down the bottom or near the bottom, or not even in the division.
It was a great example of Manchester City being put under a bit of pressure, almost in their own penalty box. They played around that and got a Kanji out. It just deflates the team that are closing the ball down. Those front players, we've worked hard, and suddenly they've got to run back 30, 40, 50 yards.
Walker, Diaz, Kanji offering himself to the left. It's Diaz doing a little bit of teasing. The ball was always going to go that way, one felt. Into Gundogan. Walker. Manchester City have played a couple of games since they clinched, or the league title was clinched for them. Arsenal losing at Nottingham Forest. They won a game against Chelsea at home. They've drawn. De Bruyne shoots. And Brighton lost not very far away from here at Brentford last weekend. First defeat in 26 games.
I don't think it was the cleanest of strikes. A couple of touches to get it onto his left foot. You can see he just hooks it slightly. Good job he did from a Manchester United point of view. Found that bit of space.
As a schoolboy, Kevin De Bruyne, Belgian of course, spent some time in this part of London, in the Ealing area, not too far away from here. There goes Rashford. Wan-Bissaka's up with it. Sancho's in the middle. Bruno Fernandes hovering on the edge, where it can be dangerous. Casemiro. Wan-Bissaka. And this is the problem. If you commit players forward, Manchester City haven't quite got a runner like Rashford, a dribbler. And of course, he's very quick. Got him into his stride with a pass. Fred. Casemiro. So much experience of big games. Bruno Fernandes looking for Wan-Bissaka. Grealish is there. And two United appeals. The involvement of Jack Grealish.
And there's what you were talking about earlier. Jack Grealish going back with Wan-Bissaka.
Don't doubt him, but they've got to do it cleanly and fairly, and he did.
It was actually a wonderful ball played in behind. I think it was by Bruno Fernandes on the angle for Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka won it in the air. What they were trying to claim was that it came off the arm of Grealish.
I'll just finish up with De Bruyne. He had family in the Ealing area, so he knew about Wembley well before he was playing football for a living.
Now still looking at that handball incident.
Grealish astonished, but Paul Tierney is heading in the direction of the monitor, and they are checking a possible penalty handball.
And here it is again. Ball played over the top. Grealish went back with Wan-Bissaka. Obviously you can't see from that. Still there. It's an excellent ball played over the top. Well, his arm is up.
This is in slow motion, of course.
I mean, there's not much he can do about it, but when their arm is up and away from their body...
They've been given.
They've certainly been given. And the fact that he's been called over there, I expect this probably to be given as a penalty. He knows nothing about it, Grealish.
It is, as you were quite right, Stuart. David Couton, VAR. Well, Jack Grealish, who actually made his debut for Manchester City here in the Community Shield. The City lost start of the season before this one. There's Howard Webb, who's in charge of the referees, and of course an outstanding official in his own time on the pitch. City have to take this on the chin, and Ortega is facing a penalty which will presumably be taken by Bruno Fernandes. He's got the ball, he is the regular penalty taker. He scored a controversial goal when United beat City in January. That was an offside call. And now he's got a penalty.
I think it was his pass over the top.
It was, yeah.
Jack Grealish.
Yeah.
It's a really good ball. We talked about Wan-Bissaka trying to get forward. Just tried to head it back into a dangerous area.
It's an FA Cup final penalty. They've been behind since the first knockings. Manchester United. But through Bruno Fernandes and the shuffle, they are level. Ortega sent the wrong way. Pressure penalty. Equal to the challenge. So the two captains have scored here in the Manchester derby FA Cup final. And Grealish has to take it on the chin because it was ruled he took it on the arm.
Well, there's a few problems down there. He's a bit silly, Bruno Fernandes. He went over to the Man City fans, remonstrated with them. Here's the penalty moment again. You can see why it's given.
Yeah.
He doesn't know much about it, but his arm is away from his body. His arm is up in the air.
It's like he's making himself bigger.
And it stopped the ball going back into a dangerous area. Yeah. And it's a good penalty. Calm penalty. I presume he knows which way Ortega is going because he didn't roll it that far into the corner. He had a look at his body language. The weight of his body going one way, and he just rolls it in the other side.
As we said, scoring the fastest goal in FA Cup final history is no guarantee for winning the game. And Manchester United have drawn level. So on we go. There's Akanji. Gundogan giving chase, it breaks for Grealish. Back to Gundogan. Set up for De Bruyne. Maybe caught in two minds as whether to try and find that top corner or loft it to a teammate coming in at the far post. There's a chance for what would have been a devastating reply.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, something was thrown as soon as he hit Lindelof. There's certainly no excuse for that.
No. This is a high security fixture. And the rivalry has been fuelled by the United equaliser. Wow. It's not disappointing, Stuart Robson, is it?
Certainly hasn't been. Manchester City looked as though they were going to dominate the game. They got the early goal. They dominated possession. Manchester United had problems trying to stop them. Without Man City creating too many chances, you couldn't see where United were going to get back into the game, but that's all changed with the penalty now.
10 minutes to go to half-time. What a difference a goal makes. United 12 times winners, 2 behind the all-time record holders, Arsenal. They have equalled the number of FA Cup finals now by reaching this today, 21. City with 6 wins and 5 defeats in this particular competition climax. Here's De Bruyne. Kanji's been pretty much an outball for them.
Yeah, that's because Fernandes is going much tighter. He's trying to stop the ball being played into Rodri at times. Same with Sancho coming in from the left-hand side. He's now picking up John Stones, which means Walker is the free player. They've got to use those 2 wide centre-halves, Man City.
Needed a sharp turn and reaction from Victor Lindelof. He was the player who got Manchester United into the final by scoring the decisive penalty against Brighton in that shootout in the semi. Stones wins a corner for the boys in blue.
Good defending by Lindelof out wide against John Stones.
Yeah, Lisandro Martinez, of course, might well have been a candidate to play in that position, but he's one of a number of players on the Manchester United casualty list. Shaw's been used in there. Lindelof's come good. More opportunity over the second half of the season.
And of course there is still Harry Maguire on the bench.
Oh yes. De Bruyne. Ball of devilish intent. Here by Bruno Fernandes. Dealt with in a composed fashion by Kyle Walker.
The first clearance, the header, was a brilliant one from Casemiro. Put himself into a really good position, as he so often does. And De Bruyne just lifting it in with the outside of his boot.
And it was Liverpool who won both the League Cup and the FA Cup last season. Manchester United trying to emulate that with a double thread. And Shaw helped him out. City trying to get back on track. Yeah. Passing football, the poise, almost the perfectionist Pep Guardiola. He'll be pleased with that one, the switch of play. It's got Grealish one-on-one against Wan-Bissaka. Gundogan, edge of the area again, but not in a position to volley. Oh, they've walked their way through here, and a challenge might be looked at by VAR on De Bruyne. City appealing.
John Stones again, it is making the forward run. He got into a really good area. Then I'm not sure he actually got his head up to look for the right pass. Haaland had just made his run, just as he played the ball in, made a different run.
Eriksen. The check has been complete, incidentally. It's not a penalty at the other end. United given a chance to play on. A couple of challenges that left Casemiro down. And second episode, this is an incident when Kevin De Bruyne probably trying to influence the officials.
Yeah, but I also would say Fred's making no attempt to go to the ball. He's almost stepped across Kevin De Bruyne.
I'm not saying De Bruyne is not entitled to go down by any means, but probably that's what went against him a little bit. It wasn't so clear-cut. But there they are again, the two 17s.
Yep. Fred didn't read it quickly enough. Kevin De Bruyne was on it. He had a bit of a panic, Fred, and just stepped across him. and you have to be within playing distance of the ball to actually obstruct your opponent and get across your opponent.
Here is Bruno Fernandes. Not sure. Fernandes again, foot in by Rodri, which might suit Haaland here. Only to link the play. Bernardo Silva, Manchester United have regrouped. The champions against the Carabao Cup winners, and it's 1-1 with half-time approaching. De Bruyne on footing stones. Rashford. Sancho. Eriksen's in the middle. Rashford in the end settles to the corner.
Yeah, I think at one point he was looking to pull the trigger, hit it with his laces across the goalkeeper. The defender was just blocking that off. Diaz. Better for Erik ten Hag this last 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, it's the sort of goal that the history of FA Cup finals until very recently wouldn't have ever had. The technology making the call, indicating that the referee should change his call. Oh, round the back came Varane. I think there's a little touch onto him, which might have made it more difficult.
It came to him very quickly, and I think he's trying to use the inside of his left boot, and it comes off his shin almost. Half a chance.
Akanji. Gundogan who gave the game such a sensational start. Bernardo Silva and De Bruyne. Crosses man. Shaw stays down. I think politically Varane has something to say to Bernardo Silva. Probably outside the box, Stuart.
Yeah, the ball was hit too firmly by Kevin De Bruyne. See, Shaw just steps across. Nothing wrong with that. And there's a little dig, a kick at him, doesn't he? Bernardo Silva, which wasn't clever.
And Varane into play.
And here's the moment again. He's looking at the ball. He's looking at the ball. He then turns round, and his arm is up in the air. It's away from his body. The result was a penalty. And Fernandes made it 1-0. Much to the delight of that man there.
Consolation, his teammates for Grealish. Rashford. United throw. We'll be hoping that old expression where you can score too soon works. They weren't the team that scored it. Offside. One way or another, there will be a double today. If he wins, the FA Cup to the Premier League trophy, and I've pointed out a couple of times, if United win, both domestic cups will be theirs in a matter of 3 months or so. Extraordinary that happened last season as well.
What Manchester United have said now is that Diaz can have the ball. Bruno Fernandes was pulling in on Rodri. Eriksen was going up against John Stones. Sancho was pulling in to go up against Walker. Diaz has the ball. It's up to him then to find the next pass.
4 minutes of added time before half-time. Walker. It's often Rodri who goes and gets it in the middle of the defence rather than Stones. Walker. De Bruyne. City started the first half spectacularly, trying to come up with something similar to finish it. It could happen at the other end. An important tactical foul by Rodri. United were shoveling numbers forward. Ten Hag has brought structure and discipline to Manchester United, not just on the field, but a supposedly difficult dressing room. The wrinkles have been ironed out. It's a good run from Rashford, supported by Sancho. Trying to get it onto his right foot for a shot.
And Sancho has to do better, because you're absolutely right. Rashford made a really good run just down the side of Diaz. Set up the plate.
From one ball. They were in. Or could have been. Here's Fred. No action. Deflection's gone Rashford's way, and Gundogan has to clip it out of harm's way for Manchester City.
Good finish to this first half for Manchester United.
Realising it's no time for taking risks. Akanji. Yes. I'm not too happy about it. England colleagues saying this is no time for friendship.
Certainly friends in the tunnel before they came out, not now.
Stones marauding in midfield. There's De Bruyne. Less and less of Haaland. The half is worn on. He waits in the middle. Lured in Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Actually gets the yellow card.
Well, Grealish lets the ball run across his body. It's that trailing leg that just catches Grealish. As soon as he went to ground and didn't make contact with the ball, there's that trailing leg. Grealish, of course, makes the most of it.
Well, Grealish actually uncontrolled the ball, but there was contact, and here we are. The last few seconds of the first half, having had a goal in the first few seconds of the first half, 13 of them.
Very unlucky to get a yellow card there, Wan-Bissaka. So he's going to be under a bit of pressure in the second half.
The last passage of play before the half-time whistle. Bruyne even more likely to swing it in. And the right kind of movement should be the goalkeeper's ball. David De Gea taking charge. Stuart, your thoughts on the first half?
Well, we got off to a great start, didn't we? Or Man City got off to a great start. One long ball play forward, great strike from Gundogan. They looked as though they were going to be in complete control for that first 20-30 minutes. Couldn't get the second goal. And Manchester United got their tactics much better in the last 15-20 minutes. Got their equaliser, and it's been a fairly even game since then.
Jack Grealish penalised for handball via a VAR call. And Bruno Fernandes delivering from the spot. So both skippers have scored, and at half-time it's Manchester City 1, Manchester United 1.
Wow, what a first half that was. Manchester City 1, Manchester United 1. Gundogan finding the back of the net after just 13 seconds, the fastest goal in FA Cup history. But Manchester United made it one apiece after Bruno Fernandes converted from the penalty spot. Here's the highlights from the first 45.
Well, there's been a bit of talking going on, I'm sure, by Pep Guardiola and Eric Ten Hag, but maybe the players themselves. It is a very coached game at the elite level these days.
I don't think Manchester City changed things too much. It's Manchester United who had to change the way they were playing several times in that first half, where they were going to force the play. They decided eventually to force it out to Akanji, and Bruno Fernandes then went out to him and said, you can't come back in field, play it to Grealish and we'll defend from there. Grealish hasn't really had the better of Wan-Bissaka for much of that first half.
Well, okay, Gundogan can't expect quite the start to the second half that he had to the first. It's Manchester United to kick off. At 1-1. Extraordinary opening goal and a modern-day penalty. VAR orchestrated for the equaliser. No changes at half-time. So, pick out by David De Gea. City were a bit short of numbers, actually. Manchester United had 4 players forward if that had been controlled. Casemiro. Here's Sancho. Bruno Fernandes. Nice turn by Jadon Sancho. City youth team player, remember, had to come up with one of the great Wembley solo goals. Got a long way too, Stuart.
Certainly did. That's the best we've seen of Sancho. Had a disappointing first half. And he's playing further infield. He's playing alongside Rashford at the moment.
Here's De Bruyne getting it off the front and then trying to use a curved ball into space for Erling Haaland to chase. It's no good Manchester United thinking, well, we've kept Haaland under wraps, because there've been many a game where his touches have been few and far between and he's come off with the match ball. Including one, of course, against today's opponents. That 6-3 win. Phil Foden is on the bench. He got a hat-trick as well in that game for Pep Guardiola's team. That was back in October. 2-1 to Manchester United at Old Trafford in January. After City had taken the lead. Which is what, of course, they've done here. Lost the lead, not the match.
Poor kick from David De Gea. He was trying to hit it in behind John Stones for Rashford to make a forward run. And once more intensity, Pep Guardiola.
Here's Kyle Walker. Silva coming in off that touchline, just caught as he played the ball, skewed away. Full pressing. This is what City try and do. They suck the opposition in and then play past the press. It's worked out for them this time. They take it on through Kyle Walker and he gives it away and wastes the effort from those at the back. He gets it back.
Really good play from John Stones. Looked as though he was going to play it back to Ortega. Sucked Rashford in and then just went the other way. But not so good from Walker.
Corner by Gundogan, and into a really good pass by Rodri. There's Bernardo Silva scuppered Real Madrid with those 2 goals. By De Bruyne, and it's bypassed everybody. A typical Kevin De Bruyne position. Not quite the typical outcome for Manchester City, but the smell that they're dancing to their regular beat again.
That time Fred, Kevin De Bruyne to run off the back of him. It's a run he makes so often, as you just mentioned.
Fred's trying to. Eyes on the back of his head. De Bruyne's on the move again. He's in that patch. Walker. Manchester United sit off a low block. Manchester City will come on. They're the pass masters. De Bruyne, Fred for company.
Good play by Kevin De Bruyne. So he's got nowhere to go, just changes direction, knows the challenge is coming in. It's a poor one as well from Fred. He claimed he got the ball, he was nowhere near it.
Was it the foul he had to concede?
He's that run, he's on the wrong side of Kevin De Bruyne. Fred on that occasion, Lindelof tries to clear it with his left foot, goes actually between his legs, away from Haaland.
Maybe that was in the back of Fred's mind with the subsequent incident. And they might not get away with the second De Bruyne cross. But, it's now a free kick. Simple, straightforward football amidst all the sophistication. Just drift it in there. Well, it's one back for the following expert, Gundogan. Well, it wasn't quite like the first one, but it's done the trick. Inspirational Ilkay.
Well, when you see it again, I wondered whether he was going for Grealish on his right foot. Manchester United don't defend it on the edge of the box. And again, De Gea may be unsighted, but it's not a clean strike at all, is it?
Nothing like.
And it just edges in at the far post. Here is the free kick. Oh, he does get a hand to it. He might have been unsighted as well. There's a lot of bodies in the way of him.
It's a shinner, really, but it's ended up where it's supposed to go. From the Manchester City perspective, De Gea's dive in vain, and this is turning in to be a great day for their German captain.
But it's a shocker for Manchester United, isn't it? Such a cheap way to concede. Set play. When it goes out to Gundogan, you didn't think there was too much danger on his left foot. Doesn't strike it particularly well.
United have hit that once, now can they do it again? Got a helping hand. It's not caught on the back foot. Ortega, a little bit of an apology subsequent from Stones. He's still apologising. Gundogan has stopped celebrating. This is a job to be done, to be seen through here this time. similarity to the goals, really. Not in the final execution, but certainly in the results of the same goal score. Here's Wan-Bissaka. Grealish. The battle continues.
He's not known for his forward play, particularly Wan-Bissaka, but he's got forward to good effect today. Trying to run off the back of Grealish. He's won the penalty.
It's relatively rare for both teams to score in an FA Cup final. There have been a lot of 1-0s. 0-0, of course, last season, penalties. These rivals from the northwest of England here in northwest London are putting on a show. Wan-Bissaka. By Akanji. So many competitions, of course, these days, and the top players are asked to ply their trade in big games week after week, month after month, but there is still something very, very special about the climax to this competition, the oldest club competition in the world, watched around the world, appreciated perhaps, dare I say it, more around the world than in this country now. Stones.
Free kick, I think, given there. Foul by Fred again. But there's another example of John Stones. He doesn't have to do too much. He's standing in a lot of space. They just roll the ball into him. That's that overload we've talked about time and time again. It's a poor challenge by Fred. Went to ground early.
He paid a heavy price for the last one. Next goal, absolutely crucial. If City could widen the margin, the treble, of course, Manchester United are so proud of from 24 years ago, would be on for the other side of the city. But if United to equalise a second time, it's a some finale. We're 10 minutes only into the second half, but we've seen a second Manchester City goal. Kevin De Bruyne, good ball situation. Getting to it. Sancho is into trouble. De Bruyne with an early cross, deflected for a corner. Surely not going to lob it to Gundogan again.
I just wonder whether Diaz could have done a bit better with the header. And it came across to him from that first ball in from Kevin De Bruyne. Big moments here.
The atmosphere turned up even louder because the teams are attacking the end where their own fans are there in their thousands. Headed out by Eriksen. Bernardo Silva. Two-goal German.
At the moment, Manchester United are asking too much of Eriksen. He's just gone to John Stones. Now he's having to cover Rodri. Rodri gets the ball in space. Too easy. Got to change it somehow.
Grealish. It's better pressure. United and Wan-Bissaka to Rashford. Can go on here to Casemiro. Sancho was darting through the middle, to the feet of Bruno Fernandes instead. Now Shaw. Sancho. Can't come off. City look to counter-attack, and they've got the tools. Gundogan. Decides that they haven't got the tools. a more considered approach via Jack Grealish.
Manchester United, two centre-halves have done well. They've backed off. They've not allowed Haaland the space to run in behind. Gundogan was thinking about playing it in behind, but he saw that Varane and Lindelof had dropped probably 5 or 10 yards deeper.
Walker. That closed him down, so he can cross at will. Not with precision as it turned out. One back by Haaland. Haaland is very much a team man. Whether he might get his moment here, it's just too high the cross. It was a chance to pick him out. Gundogan.
Casemiro got caught on the ball, then didn't go with a run of Gundogan. Here's the strike again. He's backing away from it, so he wasn't going to get that much power. Comes off his shin, goes between a couple of players. And David De Gea probably doesn't see it until it's past those defenders.
On the bounce, shot, putting the bounce into the Manchester City fans. Fernandes. Apologies all round.
Well, there was a chance as well. I was right in line with it. Diaz tried to play offside and Walker went back, and there was a massive space to play the ball into Rashford. He'd have been away. So frustrated, Rashford, that the ball didn't come from Fernandes.
Akanji. Going beyond Grealish, trying to take the ball with him as well. Garnacho, who is a precocious talent, and I would suspect somebody who is not going to be a shrinking violet in this situation. He's got bags of confidence.
There's a couple of players that could make way for him. One would be Sancho, who's not really affected the game. The other one could be Eriksen. It's been a really tough game for Eriksen. Had to do a lot of chasing, a lot of closing down without actually getting on the ball, and that's what he's good at doing.
Nearly stole it there to Bruno Fernandes. Worked with Gundogan on the prowl again. So De Bruyne will get his shot away, kicked away by De Gea. Gundogan, who's on a hat-trick, an FA Cup final hat-trick. In by Stones, it's too high, but it'll be not too high, but the push. And disappointed. Grealish disappointed.
This is the last bit of action. There's the push by Grealish on Varane, but the build-up play to Kevin De Bruyne's strike was excellent. Strange save from De Gea with his foot.
That's what you get when he plays further up the pitch. Suddenly he realises he can turn and go for goal from 30 yards out. So it is Christian Eriksen who hasn't been able to make a mark on a pitch he knows well. Of course, when he was a Tottenham Hotspur player for a while, this was their home ground. They were tenants here while the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium was being built. He hasn't looked at home. Difficult, as you outlined perfectly, Stuart, a difficult midfield role for him.
It was impossible for him at times to go and win the ball. He was trying to close it down. He had to make big decisions. He had to run a lot without getting too many touches of the ball, and that's soul-destroying for any player. Slight change of system for Manchester United. I'll have to wait to see, but Shaw might tuck in as a third centre-half. Garnacho's going to play out on the left-hand side. I'll have to wait to see. Bissaka's staying fairly high up the field on this near side.
short. There Stones. Rodri. Stones like it's almost as if you can't get used to picking him up as a midfield player. John Stones always been a very gifted centre-back, but he's applying those skills further forward here, not quite coming to shooting. He's got his first ever Premier League goal against Manchester United in his Everton days.
I've got to say, John Stones, over the last few weeks, playing in that position, it's the best I've ever seen him play. I have to say, I've not always been a fan of his defensive qualities. I thought he, at times, made mistakes on the ball. But in midfield, he looks supremely confident. He's got great awareness of where the next pass is. He's been magnificent today.
Walker's header. And from Rodri. Tweak to the tactics. The need to be more progressive, take a risk or two. That's Manchester United's problem at the moment.
What it does mean is that Bruno Fernandes is going to play in behind Rashford, which is where he wants to play, really. He doesn't like playing out on the right-hand side, particularly. It does look to me as though Wan-Bissaka's going to play almost as a right wing-back, and Shaw will tuck in as a third centre-half on that left-hand side.
Haaland trying to get it back to De Bruyne. Stones there again. It'll reach Grealish. As we come to the 20-minute mark in the second half, it's been good so far for Manchester City. And Fred making sure that De Bruyne can't make it even better. And it's good work from the Brazilian. It was nothing if not ultra active.
Well, as you said, good 1v1 defending. That's where he's been good. And he's up against a player.
Rashford setting off. The pass was right for him. The referee said it was taken and he wasn't ready. I don't think he would have got it, but had he done so, there'd have been some ructions, I think.
But that's the ball that can cause problems. It's okay if Diaz has got cover from Walker, but on that occasion he didn't have cover from Walker.
Lindelof. Shaw. Fred straying from his defensive duties to catch Piraeus. Emerged in games, getting goals. Had a very good game recently in the Premier League against Fulham. It's a Manchester United game, and was involved in both the goals as they came from behind to beat the London club at Old Trafford. Here goes Rodri. And Rashford saying, "I'm not letting you get that far." Garnacho. Recovery was terrific from Stones again.
Man City have a problem. Rodri, as he was racing forward with that ball, when he had it taken off of him, he just gave up. Started walking. He's still struggling, I think. Here he is on the ball now.
Yeah, of course, whatever happens here, the Champions League final. Am I right in saying he left Rodri out against Chelsea? It seems to ring a bell. They lost the final that they were expected to win in Europe's elite club competition.
He looks like he's going to be all right now. Here he is.
Pitter-patter of passes again from Pep's players. Stones, De Bruyne, and Gundogan disappointed it didn't come to him. And for once, Haaland wasn't sort of chasing down to feed on a scrap then. He's coming across here to close the run down. Nice play by Manchester United. Wan-Bissaka. Bruno Fernandes has to check to stay onside. Put in by Akanji.
Wan-Bissaka had a great chance, first of all, to play it in behind Akanji, then inside of him to Bruno Fernandes.
Lindelof. Rashford. Flashes over. A little flexing of the muscles from Manchester United.
Well, this is where he can be so dangerous. We talked about his pace, but he's a great striker of the ball, just cuts across it. Ortega would have been beaten. He started to go one way, the ball was going the other.
Well, Manchester born reads every nuance of this rivalry. I think he had his previous moments in derbies. Scored as an 18-year-old in the win at the Etihad. Walker. Rodri looking go through the gears again. Looked a bit neutralised for a moment. Stones. Stones again. It's just too strong a pass. Puts his hands to his head in disappointment. He couldn't quite thread it through to Bernardo Silva.
Here's the goal again. The referee, Fortini, gets out the way. He's backing away from the ball. I think the goalkeeper once again could have done better.
Well, Gallagher and family. City to the core.
Apart from the young boy in front of him who they were teasing.
Yes, yes. It's often said that football can provide, in a nice way, a family at war. Friendly rivalry. Kanji. Not too much else stirs the soul like supporting your football team, especially a very good football team like these two. Haaland. Can't get away, or can he? He's got support. Gundogan just forced Grealish a bit wide. And towards Gundogan. Grealish. Haaland's chance! And Gundogan's hat-trick! Offside. Stan Mortensen, the last to get an FA Cup final hat-trick.
Well, this will be interesting. This will be interesting.
Do you think it might be given?
No, he is offside. He is offside. Just. I wonder where Wan-Bissaka, when he closed down Grealish, he got out quickly enough.
Pep knew the value of goal number 3. Whoever scored it would have been Gundogan's match if it isn't already. Had he done so, had it been given. Funnily enough, when Mortensen got his hat-trick in 1953, it's known as the Matthews final. Which always seemed a bit unfair on the other Stanley. United come again with Garnacho. Lines it up and just didn't get enough bend on it. Ortega was diving.
I think that's the first touch that Garnacho's had. Anyway. Good play down that left-hand side by Shaw to start with. Just nudges it to Garnacho. He gets the return pass. And he's trying to bend it in between the two defenders. Doesn't quite get enough whip on it. Goes in between. Tries to go round Diaz.
Oh, close.
And there you see there's not that much whip on the shot, was there?
Came on as a substitute in the win in January for his first taste in the Manchester derby. Manchester United's 2-1 win at Old Trafford. And it's 2-1 to City here in the FA Cup final of 2023.
Still think Manchester City need that third goal.
It's for offside. It came back, flag didn't go up. Sancho, Bruno Fernandes. Fred's touch going back to the captain. That's the corner.
It's a good outcome from a shot that didn't look as though it was going to go on target, but he's got a chance to whip this in. Varane will be a target. Lindelof.
City regained the lead from a corner, from a free kick in a corner-like position. And that by Bruno Fernandes. And was jumping. Shaw, Fred. Pull in. City deal with the danger, which was looming.
A good ball played in. Casemiro has scored 1 or 2 goals for Manchester United. He was on the end of it.
His first goal was a header from a set piece at Chelsea, I seem to remember. Premier League. Here is Rashford. Casemiro. Fred. Slipped in to Jadon Sancho, who's made a very good run. Fred. His effort from Casemiro, but it's a good spell this for Manchester United. Sure. 15 minutes plus added time to go if we're going to be finished in 90, which we might not be, because here's Garnacho. We want to go all the way here. Maybe that wasn't quite the right decision. It comes out United's way. Desperate defending by Walker. And still they haven't cleared their lines, and now free kick is given to Manchester City.
Much to the annoyance of the United players and many of the United supporters that are all around us here. Is there a little push? He actually brings it down on his chest. I'm not sure there was too much wrong with that.
He would agree with you. He would agree with you. Phil Foden. Great to bring on a substitute who scored a hat-trick against the opposition. A local here. He's coming on for Kevin De Bruyne.
He was just looking a bit tired, as 1 or 2 of the other Man City players are looking at the moment. This last 5 or 6 minutes.
Well, we did discuss the fact that Pep Guardiola has changed the team in the last couple of league games, but sometimes you want to be revved up, and Manchester United had a schedule where they needed to play everybody to get the points to get into the Champions League qualification spots, which they've done. But it just looks at the moment that they've got the energy they've been playing, and that some of the City players haven't been.
Weghorst looks as though he's getting himself ready to come on.
It's always an interesting choice. This might be his last game for Manchester United. He's on loan from Burnley. Whether his thoughts are, he's a great favourite of Eric Ten Hag, who was responsible for bringing him in.
Foden has gone exactly where Kevin De Bruyne was playing, and Fred has gone up against him. I'd call it almost through an inside right position for Foden.
There's Erling Haaland. Quite take it in the corner time yet. Football in to Haaland, nearly got it onto his left foot, and there's a free kick that Manchester United are pleased to get.
Bernardo Silva himself doesn't look particularly happy, does he? Alex Ferguson, Sir Alex Ferguson, as we should call him.
I hope that's not his expression on the substitution. Well, that, of course, is not somebody who's, if you like, the people's choice, but he's the professional's choice, which is the most important thing.
And the one thing he can provide, if they get crosses into the box, he can certainly win balls in the air. That's why he's been brought on. They've got to get balls into the box.
Saka, pocket picked by Grealish. Turn away from Fred here and cut across his line and got the foul, and Fred, who's committed a few fouls, is the recipient of Paul Tierney's yellow card.
Well, they're more upset with Casemiro kicking the ball into Jack Grealish. Does well here, Grealish. He knows by going across Fred, there's every possibility he's going to be brought down, but this is Casemiro kicking the ball into his back. I'm not sure it hurt him that much.
Still nail-biting times for those in favour of the team that's losing. But nail-biting times, I think, for the team that's winning as well. It's that tight. It's that kind of cup final. We almost 80 minutes of it, gripping, and not yet decided. Foden. Rodri. Foden can control this deftly. That's another go at it. That's a handball from the City fans, not the City players. Foden still. Haaland can't get there. Oh, just needed a touch. The contact is with the post, which might have been painful for Akanji, flying in as it was fizzed across.
Well, he was onside there, Foden. Was there a handball here? Well, may well hit Wan-Bissaka on hand, but again, his hand was by his side, and this is a good cross play to the far post. As you said, Akanji's the closest player to it, couldn't quite get there.
Fine margins, 10 minutes to go.
Bernardo Silva was going for goal with that strike.
Suddenly City getting the hurry up from referee Tierney.
He's going to get a yellow card. I think to Diaz rather than Ortega. I'll have to just wait and see.
Certainly the card was out. Kicked on by Haaland.
It's Ortega that's got the yellow card. Fred has got to be careful.
Manchester United and Manchester City have both had players sent off in past FA Cup finals. Kevin Moran, United won it in 1985 against Everton. Pablo Zabaleta for City in 2013. And City lost it to Wigan. The man who holds the cards comes from Wigan, Paul Tierney. Goal kick.
They're wasted from Phil Foden. Frustration for Pep Guardiola.
Side, of course. And on your points, Stuart, about getting balls in the box. Scott McTominay.
Lindelof, the player, going off.
So Shaw is he going into centre-half? Has he been there a while? McTominay's coming into midfield where he can arrive. That's the big danger to Manchester City, you feel, in the 7 or 8 minutes that remain. Conceding set pieces. Haaland can shoot here. He's still going. Would have been a ricochet goal. Never quite in the vital part of that. Shimmy Stalin had it totally under control there.
It looked as though he could have got a shot away.
Yeah, on his left foot too.
Yep. Took another touch.
Weghorst. Walker. Knew he couldn't let it go. It would have been a corner. Just over 83,000, not quite capacity, I don't think. But of course, mentioned earlier, rail strikes today, which has certainly affected the ability to come from north to south to watch a football match. Gundogan. Rodri. City trying to assert themselves the way they know how, by stretching the opposition, by passing the ball, by movement off the ball. Will be complicated to many teams of lesser talent. For Manchester City, it's just natural.
Fred did well there just to get his foot on that one as Foden made the run in behind him. He just wants a bit more, doesn't he?
He's running out of time. Time flies by for Ten Hag. It will go so slowly for Pep Guardiola, and he'll be worried here. Rashford. That's another bite at it. Garnacho. Rashford goes down and is partially away by Rodri. Rashford is still down. Garnacho is up and fighting, and that's a goal kick.
Well, do you expect Casemiro to do that at the other end, get in behind his fullbacks and make interceptions? He did it for year after year at Real Madrid. That time it was Rodri, really good defending.
Rodri, who did it for 1 year at Atletico Madrid.
I think it's fair to say, in the time he's been at Manchester City, he's developed as a player beyond recognition. I think Diaz is probably saying to John Stones, now you can play as a normal centre-half now. Yeah. Come back and join me.
Help me. Restless bundle of energy that is Phil Foden. Garnacho. Yeah, it was a low challenge on him. Nervy for both sections of the Manchester divide. City in pole position here, but nicely done by Weghorst, and then Tomine tries a shot from distance. Bruno Fernandes has produced one equaliser. Fred. Shaw is spotted up and shoots, spotted it up and crossed. Fernandes. Stop the crosses, the message to Akanji, he can't do that. That's the first ball in, really, where we talked about Tomine and Weghorst and the extra aerial power.
And Casemiro coming round the back, he was at the far post on that occasion. Looks like he did most things right. Here's the first goal. In the very first minute. A reply for Manchester United from the penalty spot, Bruno Fernandes. And this, well, miss-hit volley from the same man, Gundogan.
Gunning for the cup. Ilkay Gundogan. he's going to make a defensive change, is he?
Nathan Ake looks as though he's ready to come on down that far side.
David Gill, I'm sure many of you will recognise, has been alongside Sir Alex Ferguson. They work so well together as manager and chief executive. Akanji, Grealish, who could be the one to come off. Akanji, there's a ball on here to Gundogan. Grealish, and Gundogan should get there, does get there, and still can't finish off Manchester United.
Brilliant from Shaw, saw the danger, got across, Foden the player that made the run. This is a good pass from Grealish, outside of the right boot. Casemiro, very tired, recovery run. And there's that block by Luke Shaw.
As Grealish is coming off. Nathan Ake has played a lot more this season than he did last season. It's just to injury problems late on has cost him his place, and the change of system a little bit. You rightly pointed out, Stuart, he scored in this FA Cup run. The only goal of the game to knock out Arsenal.
Well, there was times this season where he was Man City's best player. He's got that ability. He can play as a centre-half, he can play as a left-back.
Time running out for Manchester United.
Yellow card for Rodri.
Great challenge. Over the handball earlier. Yeah. But they're not home and hosed yet. Moment, it's his game. His team's cup. McTominay. Furthest forward. Here's Garnacho. And still, Manchester United still in this. Headed out by Haaland. Booted out by Rodri. Trying to control it. Oh, and he's followed into Luke Shaw then. Shaw hasn't made anything of it. To his credit, Foden gets away with it.
Yeah, Foden, I think, was just trying to get a block in rather than making a tackle on Shaw. Anything but let that ball go forward.
And 4 minutes was on the board. We've had about a minute of it. Eric Ten Hag still has hope. Guardiola is still concerned. Here's Garnacho, who's caused City some problems, as you'd expect. In first time by Shaw. And McTominay off the bar and over the bar. It's a corner. You don't get much closer to that without equalising. Extraordinary and typical of the thrills and spills of this all-Manchester FA Cup final.
Well, they're causing one or two problems in the air now. There's a good ball played in by Shaw. They just couldn't get it above it. Pretty big moments here.
From the big men who hold the key, you feel, for Manchester United, if there is a key to getting to extra time.
Haaland could be vital here defensively. He's cleared one or two balls. Diaz has got you can see him organising there. Nathan Ake, not the best, or not the biggest player.
He is good in the air, though. Bruno Fernandes to challenge Manchester City here and maybe set up real drama towards the end of this wonderful contest. Shaw, Garnacho. Shaw wanting to give it to Garnacho was a sensible decision. Cross was overhit, too overhit, and Manchester City, Stuart, are almost there.
Almost there. Garnacho has done well since he's come on. He's found a bit of space. Here's the moment again. It's a good save in the end by Ortega against Varane. Stones wasn't going to get there. McTominay got something on it, and there's the little touch from Ortega.
Ilkay Gundogan, they have announced as man of the match. He's man of the match if City win, and they are just breaths away from that. But those breaths are coming thick and hard now for a team that's not been able to get a 2-goal margin at any point in the game.
Walker is the player that's down. I assume he's injured. We have to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I don't think it's a great idea if you do go down and try and waste a bit of time, because the referee will just add more time on. It means you've got to concentrate for longer. There's some tired minds and tired bodies out there for both sets of players. Man City just about hanging on here. And again, if he does go off, he's going to have to stay off the field for a while until he can come back on, while Man United have got a chance to throw it into the box. It's actually a Man City throw, I think.
That doesn't apply if he's substituted, of course, which he is going to be by Emirates Laporte. It's fit to deal with balls into the box defensively. He scored a winner here in a FA Cup final, in a League Cup final for Manchester City against Tottenham a couple of years back. Only goal of the game.
Be very interesting if the game did go to extra time for the different sides that are out on the field now, how they'd go in the next 30 minutes, how they'd shape up. There's a lot of defensive players on for Man City now.
Foden trying to give Haaland something to chase and run down the clock. Erling Haaland will surely now head for the corner. His time is up. And that's got as big a cheer as anything. That should be game over, Stuart.
It should be. Good decision by Erling Haaland. He thought about going for goal. He was in behind Varane. Decided to give himself and his team a corner here, and they're going to just play it short.
Add on a bit of added time for the substitution. It's still in play, just cleared out of play. Into the 6th minute now.
Nathan Ake's just got to throw this ball down the touchline and get it over the top of Wan-Bissaka.
Get it forward one more time, maybe Manchester United. Referee looks at his watch. And that's very, very coolly done. Akanji is across on the right-hand side now. And the Premier League champions have won the FA Cup. The Derby final produces a double for Manchester City, and their treble chance is still on the coupon, with their Champions League final still to come. Even more pride for Pep and his players, yet another prize, and this in unique circumstances. United unable to halt them, but they gave a very good account of themselves, but they couldn't deal with the volleying for Ilkay Gundogan. V for victory for Manchester City. And United's pretty good season, the League Cup and 3rd place in the Premier League. After what Den Haag inherited, it's a genuine improvement. You can see the desolation, the extremes of emotion, Stuart.
Absolutely, but over the course of the 90 minutes, tactically, technically, Manchester City are a better team than Manchester United at the moment. But you have to give credit to Manchester United. They stuck at it. They had to keep changing their system slightly. They kept on finding ways to stop Manchester City dominating the game. But overall, Manchester City are a magnificent team and fully deserved their victory.
And they rode the disappointment. Controversy maybe or maybe not, the penalty incident. We've seen them given, and it was given today. Well, City last beat United in an FA Cup tie in the semis here 12 years ago. They went on to win the competition, but this victory takes them straight to the trophy.
So it is Manchester City's year then in the Emirates FA Cup. Goodness me, they had some work to do after they made it 2-1. Gundogan the hero. Both goals at the start of either half, one with the right and one with the left. But Manchester United did themselves proud in the end, Clive, didn't they? They came on strong late on.
They certainly did. It was a valiant effort from Manchester United against the best team in the country, and going behind twice. A fabulous FA Cup final. Desolation for United, jubilation for Manchester City.
Here's the emotion of the Manchester City fans then. And when they took the lead, 12 seconds into the game, who would have believed it would push them right to the end? Ten Hag can be very, very proud of his side, but of course he doesn't want to hear that. Manchester United beaten in this cup final, having won the League Cup final. And for Manchester City, well, the focus is well and truly on the treble. Inter Milan wait next week. But Inter Milan will have seen things that they believe they can exploit here, Clive. City were a long way from perfect today.
Absolutely, but I think Pep Guardiola, you can see I think relief in his body language. The Manchester City supporters absolutely ecstatic, and you can understand why. Domestic double, the treble is on.
But what a game to win as well. Let's not forget that. The FA Cup final against your City rivals, against your biggest rivals. It means so much to them. And the fact it was something of a rocky ride at times makes it mean all the more. Thankfully, the contentious penalty decision in the first half ends up meaning nothing. We can put that behind us and forget about that. And celebrate Manchester City's doggedness, ability to dig in and hold on to that lead and turn it into a win. Erling Haaland will be more influential in games. He'll play better than that. I'm not sure John Stones has ever played better than that. He was simply outstanding.
Yeah, for me, Dave, I thought he was City's man of the match. Moving into that midfield role, quite exceptional the way he controlled the game at times. That was vitally important for Manchester City. A wonderful Stones performance.
Yeah, Oasis in the house as we saw, but much of the talk will be of the Stones in the centre of that midfield, how he influenced things. There's the celebration from Erling Haaland, and City's togetherness carried them all the way. They are a winning machine, not always in this competition, but Pep has a second, and he is absolutely thrilled by that, as you can see. If they can go on to the treble next week, what an achievement that will be. For Ten Hag, well, it's about building blocks. This, in a way, is another. Many thought they would be simply washed away today, but that was far from the case. United are going in the right direction. City, though, are a lot further down that path. They will lead the celebrations, and then their focus will turn to next week. Of course, we will have the presentation of the FA Cup for you shortly, but for now we can soak up these Manchester City celebrations. And even though teams win so much, well, you know as a player, never ever underestimate what these days mean.
Special days, and this is a special moment for Manchester City. A domestic double, quite incredible season. When you think Erling Haaland joined, he was bought to do exactly what he's done, score goals. He hasn't today, but he's contributed to a team in his first season winning the Premier League and the FA Cup. Quite a remarkable season for all of these players, something that in later life they will remember absolutely forever. They probably didn't think that they were going to see this oasis, but they will absolutely revel in what Pep Guardiola and his Manchester City team have done.
And of course, if John Stones wants a tutor in terms of playing that position, Pep Guardiola would be the perfect person. So much of the coaching achievements makes people forget what a player he was, but he was the forerunner to Xavi. He was sensational in that Barcelona and Spain midfield, and you can see a touch of emotion from him. We don't often see that, Clive.
No, I thought you could see the tension etched on his face, certainly in the latter stages of the game. But his charges have come through once again. He believes in them. Great ability. An absolutely sensational season to this point. And it could be and get even better next weekend.
What a team they are. What a collective they are. What they continue to achieve. How they continue to add to what they have. That's so impressive as well. The recruitment of Manchester City must never be underestimated, and they are all smiles at the moment. Great moments for those supporters as well.
Dave, wonderful scenes for the blue half of Manchester. You have to feel for the Reds, for De Gea and his fellow teammates. The season, I think, has not been a poor one as far as Manchester United are concerned, but the blue half of Manchester dominate. There's no doubt about that. The best team in the UK, are they the best team in Europe? That's to be decided next weekend.
Yeah, we will find out next weekend. And I'm sorry for bringing this up, but dare I ask, what does it feel like, because you've been there, to be a Manchester United player right now?
It's horrible. It is not a place you want to be as a loser. I feel for the United players. I have experienced that. But you've got to say, it has been the most unbelievable Manchester City season. I'm not sure he even believed. He would say he did. But to be in this position, striking for a treble, even Pep Guardiola will say, wow.
Yeah, absolutely. They're starting with the presentations. I think I can hear the referees and so on being called forward yet. Here they are. Not a bad person to give you your medal after the FA Cup. And of course, there will be losers' medals, and then Manchester City will mount those steps. All is being readied. Everyone looks suitably awkward as they wait for the players to head up those steps. And then, of course, they'll come back down to celebrate. And here go the Manchester United players, first of all, led by Bruno Fernandes. Hard day for them, as they came so close, but they weren't quite good enough on the day. Let's get back to Stuart and Martin.
Bruno Fernandes getting his losers medal. First in the League Cup, third in the Premier League, second in the FA Cup. It's not been a bad season for Manchester United, although there will be no consolation listening to that from them, for them at the moment.
Yeah, certainly better than the last couple of years. Erik ten Hag has come in, and he's, as you mentioned in the commentary, they're more disciplined both on and off the field. Had some big battles to win, and he won them. To question whether David De Gea could have done better for the second goal, and why didn't he dive for the first one, but he's been a great stalwart for them, been a brilliant goalkeeper for Manchester United over the years.
Prince of Wales handing out the medals, of course, President of the Football Association. Fred, who did his best, And at least Kevin De Bruyne didn't last the game, so he obviously had some effect. But
it was very difficult for Manchester United's midfield players because they were so often outnumbered in there. They weren't quite sure who to go and press, when to go and press, whether to drop off. So they had to do a lot of work. It'd be interesting to see the running figures of those midfield players of Manchester United.
City waiting respectfully, but about to climb the steps joyfully. Ten Hag getting some sympathy from some Manchester United followers. His sense of organisation, as I say, off the field as well as on it, has carried the team forward, but he knows they need strengthening. Of course, they've got an ownership issue at the moment. What's going to happen with that? What money will there be available in the transfer market? They're talking about getting Chelsea's Mason Mount. On the subject of Chelsea, Mateo Kovacic is being linked with Manchester City.
Well, that's if Gundogan goes, the player that just scored 2 goals in the cup final for them.
Yeah, and who knows what he'll do in the Champions League final. But no bump in the road on the way to history today for Manchester City. They will be very strong favourites to beat Inter, but it's been a competition that they just haven't been able to master. They've been in very good positions a number of times, of course, getting to the final, losing in the knockout stages, not quite punching their weight against Europe's elite. And I don't mean to disrespect Inter, but they played very well to get through the All-Milan semi-final. So here goes Pep, his 11th major trophy, 2 FA Cups, 5 Premier League titles and 4 League Cups. If there's a Champions League to add to that by I was going to say this time next week, it'd be a bit later, won't it? It'll be in the evening. But it will almost wrap it up.
Oh, gone are the days where the managers used to come suited and booted in the club blazer. Got plenty of style, Pep Guardiola.
Yeah.
Not sure where it went today.
For the record, some £3.7 million for winning this competition. That includes the £2 million for winning the final, but increment payments getting through the rounds. It's not huge money by the standards of the Champions League and the Premier League, but it's not to be sniffed at. But it's not for the money, it's for the medals for this group of players. They join Aston Villa, Manchester City in 6th place in the all-time list, Arsenal 14, United 12, Chelsea, Liverpool and Spurs 8, 7 now for Manchester City. These moments, even for players like and managers like Pep Guardiola, they can flash by, and I don't blame anybody for being slow along the balcony there.
Alex Ferguson, who managed Manchester United side against Pep Guardiola's Barcelona in this very stadium, where they were completely outplayed. Barcelona won that game comfortably with a great performance.
Board of Manchester City well represented. Pep manages upwards, but he manages downwards very well as well, as these players will all testify. We had Mahrez a bystander today, having got a hat-trick in the semi-final, and 2 against Chelsea in the 3rd round to start it all off. Julian Alvarez scored in that game as well. But here's the man of the moment, not just the captain, but the man of the match. John Stones would have pushed him very hard. City have done this double, League and FA Cup, as they did in 2019. And just to emphasise again, one win away from a treble which would emulate Manchester United back in 1999.
And if they were looking at the last two games, this one against Manchester United, the game against Inter Milan next week, this would be, on paper, the tougher of the two games, you'd think.
But this is football. And, of course, Inter will have a say. Get the Champions League back to Italy. Medals to be cherished. And a cup to be proudly lifted. Eddie Hewitt there, chair of the FA. Well, an occasion which is truly a credit to the city of Manchester and its football. It belongs today to Manchester City. FA Cup winners 2023. There's no feeling quite like it.
And can they repeat it all again next week? It's been a top-class performance from them today. They had their moments right at the end of the game where they were under a bit of pressure, but overall they thoroughly deserved their victory. They showed all their tactical awareness, all their technical quality, and those fans can go away from the stadium knowing another trophy is in the cabinet.
And they survived, conceding their only goal in this FA Cup run, the penalty from Bruno Fernandes, which levelled the count. But they came again, and the shared silverware reward for an amazing amount of work that goes into it. The training ground started in August, where they actually lost the Community Shield to Liverpool, a game that was played at Leicester. That might have even been in July, actually. And here we are in June. It's been an odyssey, and it ain't over yet, as those players will be quick to tell everybody when they do their interviews afterwards. But special moments for Manchester City, a very special team with a genius of a manager, a winning machine.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. A genius of a manager. That's what Pep Guardiola is. He's inventive, he comes up with new ideas, he gets the best out of his players. What a coach, what a manager, and what a team Manchester City are. Gareth Southgate right behind Pep Guardiola.
I don't think he needs the P on the chest to let us know who he is. A strategist, a perfectionist, and players who don't always get the right kind of decisions in terms of selection. But he's found this group. It'd be a surprise if the Champions League at Edison will be back in goal for the final, I'm sure. Although Ortega did very well today and set up in great part the opening goal after 13 seconds. They're taking it home. They are Manchester City Football Club. And Manchester v City can rightly claim at the moment to be the football capital of England.
So those are the moments that you play for. Those are the moments that you dream of. Those are the moments that Manchester City hope they have again. This time next week, just about, in that Champions League final against Internazionale. but they will savour the rest of these moments. And how special it must be, Clive, to go up and get that FA Cup, get that trophy and hold it aloft. And of course what is now a half-full Wembley.
A wonderful day for Manchester City and their players. Erling Haaland, all smiles. What a first season he's had at Manchester City. Top goal scorer, Premier League winner, FA Cup winner. Quite unbelievable season for Manchester City.
Yeah, not bad. And the celebrations will continue here as they line up. And this will be the photograph for the album. I don't know if Pep Guardiola's going to be in on this one as well, or this is just players only. There's Gundogan, who scored both. Inevitably will be the hero, will be all over the back pages, but John Stones was simply outstanding. His was in many ways the performance to take from this game. So here is the photo for the album as Manchester City can celebrate. FA Cup winners 2023.
Here comes the staff, the hundreds of staff that back up this incredible squad of players.